Hey, check that out. That's Tales of Zero. How good does that trailer look? That's awesome. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Aria Black. Let's say hi to the chat quick. We've got Michael McCartney here. Ahoy, ahoy. How you doing? Good, sir. Purple Smurf, who is our guest today. He's here. We'll be talking to him more in just a bit. So how you all doing? I'm doing good myself. Before we get started, I'll just talk you through the various things I've got going on at the moment. Let me share my screen with you. There we go. Right. Where to start first? So let me mention Twisted Fairy Tales really quick. Okay, so this is the bargain bin book that we're doing, the anthology style storybook, where it's going to be a whole bunch of different creators with different stories, all fairy tales, but with a twist, hence Twisted Fairy Tales. So it's going to be, I think he's written like 24 plus pages on the campaign, but it's like over double that now. So you're going to get so much content by all these awesome, currently unpublished creators doing these crazy twisted fairy tales. It's going to be great. If you want to if you want to get into the CG UK scene, this is a great book to do so, because there's a whole bunch of cool, not just UK creators, but a whole bunch of Comicsgate creators teaming up to do one awesome anthology book. And you're going to get a really cool free art print when you back the book. So make sure you sign up, because it's worth it. You've got nothing to lose. So yeah, like Twisted Fairy Tales is the bargain bin book with not just us, we're all contributing, but there's going to be so many other unpublished creators that are going to contribute to this book, do their own stories. There's, a short list, but I'm sure we've got so many more people on it now. It's going really well so far. Get signing up, because you're going to get that free art print. Make sure you sign up before launch date, which is coming up soon. And yeah, just check it out. Maybe I'll play the trailer at the end of the stream, but I won't bang on about it too much right now. Check it out, sign up. This is going to be a really cool book. Now, while I'm on the topic of the bargain bin, check out our Twitter. That's the CG UK Bargain Bin Show. Give us a follow, and we'll keep you up to date with everything bargain bin related, like when our streams are going up, updates about the book, etc. But importantly, I wanted to draw your attention to this. Check out this tweet by bargain bin member Rob. Fancy yourself a comic script writer? Here's a no prize competition just for the hashtag Eternal Flame. I don't know what that means. Anyway, point is, next week we're doing a special show. We've got Don Chin on the bargain bin, and we are going to play this game where we have these two manga pages, and your job is to rewrite the dialogue and put new captions in there, tell a funny story. So we're all going to have a bash at it. You can find the pages on Twitter, like I said, on the bargain bin account, or even on Rob's individual account. Find the pages, download them, and put your own speech in the speech bubbles, and then send it to us, and we'll get it on the show. We want to see what the audience has to say. So I just want to draw your attention to that. Get on that for the next bargain bin show. Let me tell you about my personal book, The Adventures of Tayless in Outer Space. I can't wait for this to come out. I can't wait for the summertime, because this is when I'm launching it. End of June, start of July. Around that time, that's when I'm going to be launching The Adventures of Tayless in Outer Space Collected Edition. I can't wait for you to see it, because this has been a couple of years in the making now, and I'm itching to get it out into backers' hands. So make sure you sign up to keep up to date with the campaign. Also, sign up to receive this really awesome free exclusive merch by Mary's Boys artist, Chubb. I'll show you that in just a second. So this is the complete Tayless collection. This is the first time you're going to get everything Tayless all in one place. So that is absolutely every single story ever created for Tayless. All 4 currently released mini comics, plus 2 awesome bonus mini comics collected in one beautiful book. So like I said, there's 6 books included as standard, one of which is the very awesome Tayless Not Daredevil crossover. So if you want to solve the mystery and find out who killed our beloved Captain Fuckhead, make sure you back the book, because you will find out within the pages of the Tayless Not Daredevil crossover. Also, this image is not loading for me lately, but massive bonus material section where you're going to see the complete evolution of Tayless, all the way from his humble scribbly beginnings, all the way through to his current muscle-bound, spandex-clad, He-Man-looking, space cat vigilante current day self. So make sure you get on that. You're also going to see every single image, fan art, story idea, thumbnail, absolutely everything that's ever gone into the making of Tailless will be included in this bonus section. So get on that, guys. Like I said, that lovely sign-up perk is this beautiful artwork by Chubb featuring Harry of the Mary Boys alongside his version of Tailless, which I absolutely love. He looks great. You're going to receive that for absolutely free when you sign up as an A3 folded poster and as this beautiful trading card. So get on that. This will be featured nowhere else on the campaign. This is the one place you're going to be able to get the trading card and poster. Also, we have this very special unlockable 7th mini comic. And I say that's very special because it's, well, for 2 reasons. Number one, it's going to take our story count, page-wise, over 50 pages. So that's over 50 pages of just comic book goodness alone. And then secondly, because this is a prelude comic, it's the prelude to the first full-size Tailless issue, which is going to be my next Indiegogo project. So if you want to hop into that story early on, get the first glimpse into the proper Tailless universe, make sure we get this book funded because we're going to unlock that very special mini comic. And I want you all to see it. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, just remember, guys, sign up. We're doing really well on the sign-ups. If we can get 3 more sign-ups this week, I am going to be so happy. I'm going to be over the moon. Make sure you sign up. This book is going to make your life better. Trust me. You don't want to miss out on it because all your friends are going to be talking about it, and you're going to feel left out if you haven't signed up and back. So that's the Adventures of Tailless in Outer Space. And remember, all the links to all the books that we're going to talk about today are in the description below, and I'm sure I've got Neve posting them in the chat at some point. So just keep an eye out, check the links out, sign up, back the books. And then, so that's Tailless. Let me tell you about one more thing. I'm slowly crawling my way to 1K followers on Instagram. Check out my Instagram. I hope the link's in the description. I don't remember if I put it there or not, but maybe Neve can post it in the chat later on. If you follow me on Instagram, as opposed to my Twitter, you're going to see a lot more of this sort of stuff where I'm showing you like sneak peeks of the artwork as they're coming along. You see the development of the book. Like, for example, here's a lovely double-page splash from the current Tailless mini comic I'm drawing, which will be included in the collected edition. Like, you're going to see all this awesome behind-the-scenes stuff that you wouldn't really see on my YouTube or Twitter. So just make sure you get on the sign up the Instagram. You're going to see this lovely, like, you know, the lovely visuals from the book that you don't really see anywhere else. So just sign up there. It's just more content for you. Yeah. That's about everything from me. We're about 10 minutes into this stream. Let's check the chat quick before we bring on our guest. So we got Demon. How you doing, Demon? Yeah, see, Neve's posting links to all these books and Twitters and all that. There we go. My name is spelt wrong on that list of creators. Let's have a look. 1 second. Let's verify this. Demon Vizerat. Oh, yeah. We'll have to sort that out. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. What's Michael saying? You can't use your real name or they'll banish you to hell. Oi, oi, we got Jacobus Gotex in the chat. How you doing, my bargain bin friend? Yeah, there we go. Right, that's the chat all caught up to date. So let me bring on the man of the hour. We have Purple Smurf. How you doing, my friend? Hello? Okay, maybe he's not ready. Can you hear me? Go on, chat. Roast him for being away from Mike. Hello? 1, 2.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, you did that for a second.
1, 2, 1, 2. I think my internet where I'm at just suddenly it just sort of, I don't know what happened. So if you lose me for a second, I will be here.
That's okay. You got an R from Michael. But how you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We'll see if the internet holds up. It was fine until you brought me on as a guest. That's how it is, but it's fine.
Okay. So
let's see what we can do. But great, thanks for being here. Thanks to all the UK fans, everybody in the chat. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no worries. It's good to have you. So this is your first UK stream. Well, with a stream with a UK
absolutely.
Guy. And let me tell everyone in the chat, just before, like when we were in the green room, we established that Purple Smurf has Welsh heritage in him, which means
it's true.
An honorary member of CG Wales. We've got another one, guys. We're slowly really slowly building our army. We're getting stronger. We're gonna catch up with that.
Anything we can do to boot. Yeah, anything we can do to boost Wales, I'm in.
Hey, awesome.
It's one of the greatest peoples. One of the greatest peoples. Absolutely.
I would tend to agree with you there.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I don't know too much about you. Why?
Oh no,
tell us all about yourself. How did you get started in comics? Like,
sure.
What's your inspiration?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I also host a show, on Tuesday, actually we're on Wednesday nights now, and I often bring on creators who don't know each other and don't know me, and that's the best. You really just like meet the person. There's not it's just like, this is it. We're all creative people and we're drawn to each other. So, I'm a child of the 80s. I was 11 years old in 1986. So you can do the math on that, but that means I saw, Empire Strikes Back in the theater when I was 5, saw Return of the Jedi when I was 8, saw Robotech when I was 10. So I just was so fortunate. I was reading comics at 11 and 12 during the Mutant Massacre era.
Oh, cool.
And so I just I didn't know how good I had it, but now that I'm older and I'm a dad, I'm one of these Gen Xers who suddenly realized I have so many creative ambitions that I never did, right?
Right.
So that's me. But in my, my work, in my creative life, I've written scripts, I've written screenplays, I've written plays that have been produced. So I've always been a writer. And in comics, I'm a writer first. But I noticed that in the indie scene here, with the amazing things we've seen in the last 4 years, that it's really hard to get noticed as a writer. You can be like, hey, I've got a great script. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. It's a visual medium. So I started doing fan coloring. I did some pieces of Kelsey Shannon, Kanan White, and I would just color their black and white stuff. And I said, hey, I'm actually kind of good at this. So I developed my own sort of coloring style and then made a lot of connections with amazing creators like that, and just, it's been a ride, and then those people would reach out to me and eventually I'd meet other collaborators and then, I start swapping scripts with different artists. And so I've been, watching how the scene has unfolded for about 4 years, but I decided to kind of step out and put my own piece in front of the public, about 5 or 6 months ago. And, one person I really admire is Narwhal. He's somebody I feel like he's a very unassuming guy. He doesn't want you to, I'm the big deal Narwhal, but his books and his unique style, his the kinetic style of his piece, he's the kind of like a person who I admire, the kind of balance of being a humble guy, being kind of a nerd, not being the most, suave guy, but it's all in the books. It's all in the persona of the books and the visual style and his signature. So I kind of see myself as somebody in that vein where, my name is on the book cover. Anybody can find out what my real name is, but the comic name, the creator name is just sort of like it's your brand. It's easier to say, that book that Smurf's doing, I heard it. Oh, he's got another one coming out. Oh, it's about cavemen. Oh, I like Tales of Zero. What's this? It's cavemen. You kind of just know, oh, that's what that guy is up to.
Hey,
so
Purple Smurf's a unique name. I'll give you that. So
well, it has to be something you can say and then never forget. But back in the day, there was this episode of the Smurfs. I don't know if you remember, where they would get bitten by a fly and then they would only say Ganap. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I've never really watched the Smurfs.
Oh, it's a really funny one. It was sort of like almost like a zombie story. So there was this fly, right, and he would bite the Smurfs, and then they would turn purple and get really aggressive. And they would only say Ganap. And then if a Smurf bit another Smurf, they would turn purple. So it was almost like a horror movie.
Yeah, I never watched the Smurfs, but I used to like the little action figures you get out of like the vending machines.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have loads of those. And then also I keep getting told off in work for humming the Smurf song while I'm working.
It's good. If you love like Hanna-Barbera type animation, there's some great classic stuff in there. The voice actors, the team of voice actors that did the Super Friends, that did Transformers. Like if you love 80s cartoons, you keep hearing the same voices. Yeah. So if you listen to like all the Autobots and then all the Smurfs, you just go ding, 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 connect the dots. It's all the same guys. So I love that. I've always, since I was a kid, I love cartoon voice actors and trying to figure out who is who. And but I mean, and then in creative wise in comics, I think a big inspiration for me growing up was the X-Men and the New Mutants. My favorite book of all
Oh,
time was the New Mutants, and that really connected to me when I was 11 or 12. I really completely related to those characters because they were weird, they were misfits, they were outcasts, they weren't cool. That's what I tell some people. I said, if you were into Japanese animation and comics when you were in 7th grade in my generation, that meant you weren't cool.
yeah,
That was exactly the proof that you weren't cool, because that's what kids who weren't cool were doing. So it's like so funny. Like, we're the nerds, we're the people who were into the stuff that was weird and that was different. And people are like, well, why are you reading that? Why do you want to watch that cartoon? So now it's like anime. People like anime as if that's a personality.
I know.
What's your personality? I like anime. Oh, great, great. But back then it was like, oh my gosh, that was a mark of that you were a nerd.
it's like there's not to be like a gatekeeper, but there's the OG nerds, and then there's the Funko Pop nerds.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. And every generation will find its thing. But I definitely am one of those people. I'm in my 40s, and I was raised during that Cold War era of great pop culture. It was just and that's the kind of thing that's bothersome, is that they keep mining that same era. They keep rebooting the Transformers, and it's great. I love the Transformers, but we should also be making new stories for this era, for these kids. These kids shouldn't be growing up watching our stories. So I feel like there is a failure on the part of big corporate entertainment to actually reinvest into new stories. They just keep rebooting, and it gets a little tired. But as far as that, I love the New Mutants, and the Sienkiewicz run on New Mutants was huge in my life. Yeah. And also the original first 10 issues of the Turtles. I don't know if you ever read that. Have you ever read the first 10, the Eastman and Laird? You really should. They're so good.
I've never touched before. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on the Sienkiewicz New Mutants. I love that. Yeah,
it's so good.
All about, even without the story, I'm all about the Sienkiewicz artwork.
He's unbelievable. And I read that as a kid, and I didn't think it was avant-garde. I just thought, that's it. That's art. That's a comic. Now I look back and see how different it was. But as a kid, I just accepted it at face value. But yeah, you should definitely find a minute and read like the first 10 issues of the Turtles when it was Eastman and Laird. When it was an indie comic, they were like, I think they shopped the first copies like as a Xerox in a comic convention in Maine. It was really underground. And when I was reading it in '86, I think they were up to like issue 8 or 9. It was all in black and white. All the Turtles, when they would color them, had the same headband. They all had red. And it was the most brutal depiction of violence you've ever seen. When someone was cut with a sword, it cut them, blood spattered against the wall, and they had that wound for the rest of the book. Yeah, you never saw that in other comics.
They were less kid-friendly.
Yes. Oh my God. And that's I think why kids loved it, because it was brutal, and you kind of felt like you were seeing something. You were like, oh my God.
Well, it was indie comics. There's no editor.
It was indie comics.
No one to tell you we can't do that,
Yeah, I feel like today, and I say this on my show a lot, having been a kid in 1986, there was a huge indie boom that year, and Don Chin was part of it. I bought the Radioactive Hamsters when it was new, and that was the same thing. You bought it off the shelf, and it was just like, oh, it was so different and black and white and weird and funny and twisted. And I had the 3D one with the Star Wars cover. I bought it when it was new. I think I was 11 years old. It was great. I read it a million times. And I feel like we're experiencing now, through everything that's happened, we're experiencing that indie boom for the present generation. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Like a person like you, a person like me, like we have the chance to build a dream and get other people excited about it, get them to invest in us. And then the only limit is just ourselves. We can take this as far as we want. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this. It's awesome. And I watch what the UK people are doing, like Charlie's London, incredible. I like Ailsa Dark, looks incredible. And so I think the UK and, Mary Boy is just, you got so much talent over there. Yeah. So it's awesome.
You know what? You mentioned the hamsters just then. Yeah. I am waiting on the edge of my seat for the good news that Don has got the rights back to that. Because as soon as he gets the hamsters back in his
right.
I'm going to pitch him the best Taylor crossover ever.
Oh my gosh.
For an answer.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm this old man and I'm like, remember in 86? And everyone's like, no, we weren't there. But there was another great book in 86. It was called Boris the Bear.
Yeah.
You should read it. You will love it. It was like a send up, after the Turtles, like a lot of people like rolled the dice on their indie book because they saw the Turtles made it. So like, oh, you can make it. So a lot of stuff hit the shelves. And so Boris the Bear was like, it was kind of a comedy book, like the Hamsters. And so there was this teddy bear and he had an Uzi and a samurai sword and he would just shoot and destroy everything. And he had like a foul language and a terrible attitude. And they would use his character to do parodies and spoofs of whatever was popular. So the first episode was like Boris kills the Turtles. The second one was like Boris hates Transformers. So funny. Yeah. I think Tailless and the Hamsters, like, yeah, there's like a whole genre, I feel like, where you're kind of tapped into it, where there's humor, there's ridiculous fight choreography, there's animals and humans, and so yeah, I could see that.
Hey, cool. Tell you what, we're gonna briefly take a break to check the chat because we got Rob in the chat saying, "What's up? How you doing?" But there's some updates on the CG Wales front. Jacobus reckons we're getting too big at this point.
Yeah, you got to keep it small. I mean, you don't want to get any of us started on Wales. I mean, like we live in a society where Shakespeare is held as one of the greatest authors, and I don't need to tell you how his depictions of Welsh people were unflattering. I don't need to tell you that. We all know.
I'll quickly show everyone. Where is it? This. Michael's just updated the official CG Wales picture. So you're on it now, if you can see.
Oh, that's great. Thanks very much. I appreciate that.
But you're right here on top of my head.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, that actually looks like where my cousins live. I have cousins in Llangollen, and my grandmother was 100% Welsh, and we still have cousins out there. So
you know what? Neve's pointed out in the chat that I keep forgetting to mention that Neve is a member of CG Wales. She counts. She should be in this picture too. Her and what I'm gonna have to do is go back to my streams and like everyone who tells me they got a little bit of Welsh in them, we'll add them to the list and we'll slowly add to the list.
It's the start of our big comeback. We're gonna take things back. We're gonna take control back. We used to run things. With Arthur. We used to be in charge of this stuff, man.
Exactly.
We used to be running this whole thing. It's time. It's time to take it back.
Oh yeah, Rob should probably be on there, but like just poking his head in or something because he's not Welsh, but he is like the only person I know who speaks Welsh.
Oh, okay. That counts. That counts. No, if you speak Welsh, you're in.
I mean, at this point, we're desperate. So
yeah. I always, if anyone ever wants to go with you about Wales, you just say, all right, I'm Welsh and I'm proud of it. And all right, well, let's see your country's flag. Okay, now look at ours. Boom! You win the battle every time. Exactly. You're like, we have a giant red dragon.
Exactly.
And your flag is like a stripe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We rule.
Yeah, exactly. Wales has the coolest flag.
The coolest flag.
We are better.
Not even close. It's not even close. It looks like a flag a kid would invent. A kid would be like, the flag of my country is going to be like a dragon. It'll be red and scaly.
Dude, a dragon.
Dude. All right, let's talk about my book. That's the thing. Even when I'm hosting my show, I get so into creative people and like hanging out with them, I forget to shill my book, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's about time. Let me share my screen. Let's get this up. Oh, still got this up from earlier. 1 second. So, Tales of Zero. You have 20 days left on your campaign. Is this the first or second set of 30 days?
This is the second set of 30 days. Okay. And I am a first-time creator, and no one's ever heard of me. And so I set my goal pretty reasonably. The book is done and written. We're just doing finishes on, inks and lettering, just sort of tweaking every page, but the book is done and all the creative team is in. So for me, it's about showing that I can deliver, and if I finish this campaign with 30 backers and those 30 backers get the book and they dig it and they tell somebody, that's legitimate growth.
Hey,
and I'll have got there by my own little Smurfy shoes. You know, nobody helped me. I mean, you're helping me. People help you, but in the end, you know, it's all about word of mouth is the only thing that matters. Somebody has to say, "Hey, I saw that book. It was great."
exactly.
Until then, you're just a talking Smurf on the. I mean, who knows who you are? So I'm really happy if this is a base hit. We don't have to break the bank.
Yeah.
I want to deliver this book, wow the customer, because I think this is one of these books that it's like a coffee table comic. You leave this on your coffee table, people come over, they sit down, they're like, "What's that?" "Yeah, some comic." And then when they start, they're like, No, give me a minute," and they will not put it down. It's like that. I designed it to be like that. That it's like a Slurpee or a candy bar. Like you don't take a bite and stop. Like once you're in, you're in. And I designed the book to be that way. The way it pulls you in and the way it builds to a kind of a crescendo right near the end. So I think my vision, you know, I call my imprint Zero Pipeline. It says it's all about the reader. The experience of the reader is everything. If you put down Tales of Zero and you're just like, oh, like I can't believe the ride I just went on. I cannot believe the ride I just went on. Then you're my customer. But until that moment, I'm an unknown. So my first step is to deliver the books to the people, and I want to get, you know, my campaign in front of as many eyes, UK fans and everybody. I really appreciate you. You know, I'd love to be on more with you guys. Like I say, like I love so many of you guys are so amazing. But I don't think that I have to, you know, have a big figure campaign. I don't expect that. Just deliver the book to the first batch of readers and make them happy, and then the next book, build from there and build each step.
Yeah. You seem to have a good outlook on.
Oh, I've been watching things. I've been watching things for years, and I've seen that people who think they're bigger than they are, that's a huge mistake. Somebody else's clout is not your clout. Somebody else's audience is not your audience. You got to earn every backer, every fan, everyone who gives you a second glance. You got to treasure that person. You got to build your audience and your readership one at a time.
Yeah, well, look, dude, you've already done 121% of your goal. So
I know. I feel good.
Smashed your funding, which is absolutely great. 662 Great British pounds so far. I don't know what that is in United States dollars.
It's just under $1,000, you know.
Oh, cool.
And you know, and like, you know, the wisdom says you're going to make about half your money in the first 3 days, go through a slump, and maybe make almost as much in the last 3 days. There's 2 peaks, right? Yeah. And if that happens for me, if I get closer to $2,000 and 50 backers, right now I'm at like $1,000 and almost 30 backers, that'd be a thrill for me. You know, just to reach that level on my first time out would be a thrill for me. So I've got a realistic vision of where I stand. But like I say, I view what I'm doing as kind of an imprint. So I already have my next book mostly done. And the next book is a caveman story. It's called The Sword and the Idol. And it's a different creative team. And it's going to be, you know, a one shot. It takes place in the Paleolithic world, totally different art style. And, you know, once Tales of Zero is fulfilled, we'll roll that out. And then I've got another book to follow that. So I kind of see myself working in a rotation of 4. Okay. So by the time I've done 4, we're going to get to Tales of Zero book 2. And then a fan who starts to dig my storytelling style, they'll want to get, you have a caveman book? Oh, you have a Western? Oh, you have this sci-fi book? And then I'm just going to sort of pause it at 4 and just keep those 4 books in rotation. Don't overpromise, you know, but I could probably do each one of those and, you know, update them sequentially and just, you know, build your readership slowly. Because I've got 2 or 3 creative teams working on things right now, and they're really, really super exciting.
Yeah, that's actually a cool idea to cycle through the different books by theme. I think that's interesting. I haven't heard anyone else see anything like that before. Yeah,
and so my imprint is going to be called Zero Pipeline. And again, each book doesn't have to break the bank, but if you can have a base hit, a base hit, a base hit, and a base hit, that's a home run.
Yeah.
You know?
so is Tales of Zero the first book you've actually seen to fruition?
Yes. I mean, I have done a different crowdfunding campaign with a different sort of name on it, but I learned a lot from that too. And so I think I learned a lot about how to be reasonable and set reasonable goals. So this is my first one. Yeah, this is the first one under my proper heading. But let me tell you about the book. You know, I feel like I'm going to just chat with you, and our time is going to run away.
But you know, just talk us through the story and all that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So The New Mutants was my favorite comic book. And then, after the New Mutants, I was like 11 or 12 years old. Then I picked up a guitar, right? And I figured, oh man, I'm a nerd. I like, Robotech, Star Blazers, and the New Mutants. I have no social potential. Maybe if I become a musician, right?
Right.
So then I started playing rock and roll and Black Sabbath and everything. And then, it changed. And so I kind of like got a little distant from comics for a while because everything was music. But I did, during my rock and roll days, I read everything that H.P. Lovecraft wrote. And I became a massive Lovecraft fan. And so nobody told me back then about H.P. Lovecraft's friend and colleague, Clark Ashton Smith, who was in California. And so back in those days, if someone had hooked me up with Clark Ashton Smith, I would have been a huge Clark Ashton Smith fan, because I call him the California Lovecraft, because he's just as deep as Lovecraft, just as visionary. His monsters are just as horrific. His world building is just as sensational. But in some ways, he achieves things that Lovecraft can't achieve in terms of like psychedelia and painting a picture of the unnameable. Because Lovecraft always takes you to the door and he says, beyond this door was a vision so mind-boggling that I couldn't possibly describe it to you. That's a Lovecraft trick. Where Clark Ashton Smith, he takes you to a place and then he describes it. Yeah. And you just cannot believe what he can do. So if you've never read anything by him, I have a video where I talk about this, but one is called The City of the Singing Flame.
Yeah.
And that's like a psychedelic camping trip from Lovecraftian universe. It's so unbelievable. When you read it, you'll be a fan for life. And then he had this one called The Dark Eidolon. And that is the most dark metal, wizards, skeletons, D&D, black magic thing you have ever read. It is just unbelievable. The imagery is beyond belief in terms of wizards and dark skeletons. He's an amazing. So Tales of Zero is actually a riff on one of his stories. So cool. he had a character called Satampra Zeros, and Satampra Zeros figures in two stories. He's sort of a thief by profession. And so the first one he wrote was called The Tale of Satampra Zeros. And so you meet Satampra Zeros in this tavern, and he and his friend get so drunk that they decide that a good idea would be to sneak into this alien city in the jungle and steal some dark hidden treasure. So my book has the same setup. So we meet Zero, who is a construction worker on this futuristic mining colony. We meet him in the nightclub of the mining colony, now it's like a cleaned up nightclub. But him and his buddy Oscillo are these old construction workers who helped build the mining colony, and they got them addicted to this thing called the juice, a stimulant that would make the construction workers work ridiculous hours and take unnecessary risks. But now that it's done, they don't have any more work for the workers, and they're basically bums. And so they do odd jobs trying to get money for this juice, because now that they stop drinking the juice, they're aging too quickly. So the juice gives them temporary youth. But if they stop, so in this picture, you see what happens. They're being chased by the monster, and they hide behind these columns, and they're like, juice! So they chug the juice, and it makes them younger, you see? So, that's what you're seeing right here. So they are hanging out in the bar, and they meet this young guy who's never been outside. He's never left the mining colony. And this is a character I invented. So I took Clark Ashton Smith's setup, right? Right. But then I was like, I'm going to do my thing with it and then give him all the respect. So it's a love letter to his story. So my Zero is a construction worker, and instead of this exotic wine, they're addicted to this chemical stimulant. But they have the same idea. They meet this kid who's never been outside, and they say, oh, I know what would be a good idea. Let's go hike into the jungle and try to steal this alien artifact. And so they go into the jungle because Zero figures if we can get this artifact, we'll have juice money for life. And the young kid wants to go just because he's never been outside. Let me share this the cover for you, because the cover kind of encapsulates that in a humorous way. Let me see. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So here we have the cover. So there they are in the nightclub, you see, and Zero is by nature, he's a storyteller and kind of a tall tale teller. So he's in the middle here in this scene of like, I don't know if I can make that any bigger. Hold on. He's in the middle of telling Rick, the kid. I don't know why it's not zooming the way I want it to. Oh, well, anyway, he's in the middle of telling the kid some great story, right? And Oscillo is his lifelong, the Chewbacca to his Han Solo. And you can see Oscillo's just like, I've heard this story a million times. And then the kid is like, really? He's believing everything. Like, oh, wow. And also there's a dog in the story. But anyway, you see, they're drinking the juice, they're spilling it everywhere, and the waitress just can't even get their attention. And so, I kind of went with this kind of 86 Bronze Age sort of feel on the cover, where remember in the Bronze Age, the characters would talk on the cover.
Yeah,
I really missed that. Then they would say something cryptic like, we better run or we're not going to make it, and then I can't, so they have some sort of teaser. So the teaser here is he says, blast him in the head. And I say, which one? And then of course in the story that ends up happening.
Yeah.
So when you read the story, but then this is art by Pablo Romero. You probably know him. He draws very curvaceous women. That's his thing. And he draws the 80s.
On that page.
Oh, well, he also does the 80s glam style. So I hit him up for this because I really wanted it to feel like an artifact from 1986 or 87. And I remember the RPG modules and PC game art from that age. It looked just like this. So I did the thumbnail for him, and then we went back and forth, and I did the tweak the colors to give it even more of a neon feel. But I'm really happy with it. It has this weathering. You can sort of see like some dirt spots, some scuffs on it. The part I think I showed you before that I'm most proud of is this dog. I don't know if everybody can see the dog. You can't quite see it, but do you see the way that it almost looks dirty? And you see the texture dots, and it's yellowed and kind of orange there. That's the most beautiful thing to me, is the fact that you're looking at something that feels like it's been held, it's been used, it's been through something. And I'll show you a piece of art from the book too that has that same quality. I made a joke the other day. I was like on the Twitter, it was just sort of like people who look at my Tales of Zero art, and they're like, yeah, but that looks like drawings.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, because that's what it is. Like, it's like we're so used to things being like this kind of photorealistic style. Like, I want to see the brush. I want to see the brush strokes.
Yeah,
I want to see. I want to see the stuff. I want to see like grit. I want to see stuff where it's like I see the color didn't quite. It went outside the line right there, And we were, talking about the Sienkiewicz X-Men. If you look at Marvel art from that whole area, there's times when the color layers didn't line up right, and there's a pink part that overlapped a yellow part where it wasn't supposed to, and the dots didn't line up with the lines. And I grew up reading comics like that, and to me it always made them so 3D, because your eye's trying to assemble these layers into an image, and then you see a kind of sense of distance, where today I see where all the lines are perfectly connected, all the colors are flatted, every color fits in the line, ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na. And when I see a Marvel comic today, it looks flat to me, because my eyes can't do that thing where I can move through the layers. You see what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm trying to do something with digital where you feel that. You feel there's like a grit layer, there's a color layer, and then your eye just sort of like synthesizes it into something. So I'm trying to do that in digital.
Hey, you're doing a good job with the colors. They do look really good. It looks this page very much like it's on a canvas to me. That sort of feel.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to do something where it looks like film, old beat up film. So I've got scratches, literal scratches on it. I don't know if you can see there. Little scratches, this like dirt, there's dirt here. And it's just like, that you should be, because remember, the story starts in this super clean nightclub. So when they're in the super clean nightclub, there's no dirt on anything. At this point, they're being pursued through the jungle by this shape-shifting slime monster. So everything is dirty and sweaty. And, so I want it to feel that way. And I feel like what I'm doing visually is making that immersive experience for the reader. That when the story gets dirty, the pages get dirty, and when the story gets sweaty, the pages get sweaty. And that's that's
a cool idea. That's immersive. I like it.
Yeah, so that's why it is. And then when people see some of it and they're just like, well, but that thing you left that line unclosed, or you left that hatching, but it just went right across the other thing, even though. And I'm like, yeah, it's a drawing, dude. It's a drawing. Let it play with your eyes. Let it play with your eyes. Let those different layers like mess with you. That's how it gains interest, because your eye's trying to compute. Oh, what's this layer? What's that doing? So maybe I'll show one more piece of art. Yeah, and I really appreciate you.
I love the monster you have going on that page.
Yeah, it is literally what you would call, if you're a Lovecraft fan, it is literally a Shoggoth. I don't know if you know what a Shoggoth is, but it is actually a Shoggoth.
I love Lovecraft and all,
Yeah, yeah.
all that
So
stuff. I have an idea for my own book to do a tale-less like Lovecraft story where I do like the bad guys are Lovecraftian style Teletubbies.
mm,
So
that could be great.
I also did a I don't know. I'll show you this. You might be interested in.
Oh, show me.
If my Instagram loads, where's my share? Stop screen. Share screen. Show you it here. Yeah, so I did Inktober a couple of years ago, and so I did everything. Every day was a new Tailless adventure, but it was with a Lovecraft spin. So, like you met an Elder Thing and Dimensional Shambler.
Oh, there you go.
Cave Beast, all these
awesome
various Lovecraft monsters, deep ones.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. So yeah, you know it. You know the difference between the elder ones, the deep ones. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're not playing around. Well, the Shoggoth is so funny because the Shoggoth is the thing that the elder ones were scared of. You have these gods and they're so scary. Then they built this slime monster to be their worker. But then the slime monster evolved into something that even they were afraid of, And so the Shoggoth is that great, like it's so freaky and scary, even the elder gods are afraid of it. And so in this one, in the original story, and this is kind of funny in Clark Ashton Smith lore because Tsathoggua was, his big contribution to the mythos. And this is the story where he introduces Tsathoggua. So Tsathoggua is sort of a frog monkey. Yeah. And then in this story, there's a monster in this big basin in front of the idol of Tsathoggua.
Yeah.
And that's the monster. But there seemed to be some confusion in Lovecraft reception that people started to describe Tsathoggua as this black shape-shifting slime monster. Yeah. But that wasn't it. Tsathoggua is, so there's two things. The thing in the bowl was much more a Shoggoth. So that's how I treat it, that the Shoggoth is what's guarding what's in the temple, Yeah. And so to try to draw a Shoggoth, to try to describe a Shoggoth is impossible because it manifests whatever body part it needs. If it needs a tentacle, it has a tentacle. If it needs a claw, it has a claw, right? So we try to do that in the art where we kept it blurry, but if it needs a spider leg pops out. If it needs wings, and you can't outrun it because it constantly is just sliming towards you.
The artwork is quite sketchy, which I think works well for the creature.
Yep. And you get
sketchy, hard to make out what's going on, which well for the style.
And you see here you've got this sort of like these scratches and this texture and everything. You've got places where like things are not perfectly defined. But again, these are the film. This is the movie in your mind. We want to be taken through panel to panel what's happening. And if you look at the Marvel art, here we see a part where the couch color and the orange color don't line up.
Cool.
And I grew up reading comics that did that all the time, and that's to me when everything lines up or when, it's not as, there's not as much to chew on.
At a certain point, it's too clean and pristine.
It's too clean and it's like everything is the same.
I know what you mean.
And so I want this comic to just be like so much texture. Now I should give credit to the penciler. The penciler is the one who did so much of this. I'm the finisher, I did all the thumbnails. The penciler did the pencils, and I'm doing the inks, textures, and grit. I call it like atmosphere and grit, or lighting, because I really feel like it's like a film. You're lighting each shot for the emotion. Here I want it to feel cold because these guys are being dumped on the planet. They're going to be the workers on the mining colony. That's all you need to know, that these guys got dumped on a planet. They didn't know what was up. Here you need a temple in the jungle. Here you need a hospital. The color just boop, 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 boop. The color is the lighting in the shot to carry the emotion. It's not really about coloring each object. It's about making the emotion of the scene. So this is the art. It is sketchy and it is gritty, and I love it. And it doesn't mean
I like the sort of cross themes going on in this page, like sci-fi, and then you've got these like Indiana Jones style temples. It looks interesting, visually dynamic. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, this is them at the nightclub, and he's telling Zero and Ocello, they're telling Rick about, how when the corporation first settled, there was an alien civilization, right?
Yeah.
So they spent the first 30 years wiping out the alien civilization. Once that happened, they brought in the miners. And then the temples have been left alone. But he said, but I met one of the people who was one of the first soldiers, and he told me the truth about what happened, So the Zero is telling him, like, I got the real story. And so that's how he knows about the temple, and he knows where the treasure is. Yeah, I call it Indiana Jones meets aliens. And, when you're looking at the work of Clark Ashton Smith literally, and I use the word literally, basically, for all intents and purposes, wrote the story of the movie Alien in 1930. Right. It was called The Vaults of Yovombis, and it was about these archaeologists on Mars, and they found this weird temple. They went inside, they found the bas-reliefs and statues of some civilization, and then literally there were these things that sucked onto the faces, And so when you look at a movie like Aliens, specifically Aliens, it is already in that Clark Ashton Smith vibe, where you have a mix of archaeology and sci-fi. So this page captures it all. You've got the nightclub, you've got this sort of like the mining colony, you've got the jungle, and you've got the setup where Zero is saying, I met the old man and he told me where to look. And so in my version of the story, I call this man, Corporal Smith or whatever. So he represents Clark Ashton Smith, sort of passing the legacy onto this new incarnation of Zero. Yeah, I picture my version of Zero being kind of a public domain character, that once you get the dynamic that he's a liar, a storyteller, a scoundrel, he's like Han Solo without the heart of gold. And Ocello is like his Chewbacca. He's very strong, doesn't talk much, but in the end, he's a lot better in a tough situation than Zero. Zero's a talker, but he's not that good in a fight. And Ocello is the one who doesn't talk, but he's good in a fight. And once you kind of get their dynamic, you could tell a bunch of stories with these characters, It's not limited to what Clark Ashton Smith did, but it's sort of taking him as a jumping off point and then making a new character that's an homage to him.
Yeah. So you know what? From what you've told me of the story so far, it sounds great. I love the Han Solo Chewbacca vibe.
Oh yeah.
Mixed up with Lovecraft. It sounds like something I would enjoy reading. It sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I should tell you. Let's take one more look at the campaign, or actually, I don't want to interrupt you. What you were going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Good.
Let's take it back to the campaign, and you can show us what's actually on offer here. What are you offering back?
Absolutely. So we have the standard cover. It's $25. The artist is Elliot Rodriguez, and it's an image of Zero running through with the idol of Zathagua, and then you see what's chasing him is an ill-defined black shape, right? So again, how do you draw a Shoggoth? So that's not what the monster looks like in the book, but I love the way we rendered it as sort of like hands and a mouth, and it's coming for you, and in its negative space.
I think
you can scroll down and see it. Yeah, you can scroll down and see it. So here you get, and you see that because it's a Shoggoth, it's like it's negative space. So I love that. We made the monster out of the negative space. And like a Bronze Age comic, he's like, oh man, I should have called in sick today. It's like that sort of the wisecrack on the cover, because they thought, oh yeah, we're just steal the thing. That'll be fun. We'll have juice money for life. Yeah, no, it didn't quite go that way for Zero.
No,
and so that's the standard cover.
Yeah. Cool.
And then this one is the variant cover by Pablo. It's sort of like at the bar, and he's a big talker, and then I was blasting and had 3 heads. Trust me, come to the jungle, it'll be fine. But once you find out more about Zero, you realize you can't believe everything he says, right? And so this is also $25, and then our featured perk is just to get one of each, the double cover. And then we're going to do a black and white version with a wraparound cover by Brett Cantrell. That's the cover that's got the multi-headed monster on it. Yeah, that one. And that's going to be a black and white. I started to render out the pages in black and white, and I was like, they kind of look good this way. So that's going to be like, anybody who wants a black and white, it'll be a rarity. But then Brett decided that he was going to write me an Ashcan. Right. And so we are going to put that on the campaign next week. Yeah. And it's going to be $15. You can add it to whatever you got. But everybody who backs before we cross $1,000 is going to get the Ashcan for free.
Oh,
and,
that's cool.
And the Ashcan, you see the triple one's the triple score perk. Go down one. We get all 3 covers.
Yeah. And how far are we away from $1,000 at the moment.
Oh, pretty. I mean, I think the next 2 or 3 backers will get it. But if you do the triple score, you already get the Ashcan. So the Ashcan is going to be lumped in with that. You're going to get the Ashcan for free at that tier. But I wrote the story. It's an original story, and he's already writing pages. And his art style is, I call it Gil Kane meets Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
So he draws in a very late Silver Age style. Everything is done by hand, and it is awesome. It is not like anything else I've seen anyone do. So for a pulp story, he's like, it's going to be very different than the main book artistically, but very true to the characters. So I have on my YouTube channel, anybody who wants to check it out, I have myself doing a reading of the script with sound effects and music, so you will know what the story of the Ashcan is.
Right.
And cool. I had a lot of fun writing it. It is a classic pulp story, just like Ashton Smith or Robert E. Howard would write, where the setup for the Ashcan is that Zero, being a kind of a thief, swindler, scoundrel, he's always trying to look for the easy money, and so he tries to steal this object from this corrupt set of judges on a planet. So him and Asilo break in to steal this thing called the Scarlet Scepter, and then, of course, as it will be, everything goes wrong. And then it's their fight to get out, right? So they first they're trying to break in, and then they're trying to break out. And it's a really fun story, just sci-fi pulp fun.
That's cool. I got to say, the way you're pitching these stories, it sounds great. It sounds like a lot of
Thank you.
Like lighthearted.
Yeah, literally. It's like it's like I tell people, when you, back in the days of cable, if you walked in the room and Raiders of the Lost Ark was on, you would sit down and you'd be like, I just want to watch this one part. An hour later, you didn't get up because it just pulls you in. And Aliens was the same way. I literally remember, like, Aliens was on TV and my friend and I were doing something and like, oh yeah, this part's cool. Hold on. That's it. We never got back up. We watched the whole movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of entertainment where it's like an adventure story, there's some scary parts, there's jokes. That's exactly the vibe of Tales of Zero. It's that exact vibe. It's fun, entertainment, sci-fi, a chase, some explosions, some humor. You care about the characters. You put them in danger. You have them use their wits. I call it. It's funny that I had to like define this, but the genre is basically called adventure. Like, superheroes, you have a villain and a hero, but adventure, you just have characters versus circumstance. And that's all it is. It's characters versus circumstance. But the fun thing about Zero, in that he's kind of a narcissist liar, that he causes his own problem every time. He always gets himself into the situation by thinking he's this hotshot smuggler or something. So, Asilo, it'll be great. We'll break in, we'll steal this thing. Yeah, it doesn't usually go to plan. So he's kind of a lovable scoundrel, but I also have a twist at the end, which I don't want to give away, is that he's a very unreliable narrator. So that even in the story, when you get to the last 4 pages, you have to go back and check a few things, because he lets it slip that some of the things didn't happen the way he said they happened. And that's like for
everything you read on the page.
So then you got to go back and look for the evidence where things didn't. Wait, that didn't happen. And so and that's why I say, like, when the first time you read it, you put it down, you're going to go, damn, because then you're going to realize, not only did I take you on that ride, but he was messing with you a little bit. He lied about a few things, and there's just enough evidence in the last 4 pages to go back and sort of see the truth versus the way he told it. And that's going to be a signature of his stories too, that he's kind of a liar and kind of a jerk, actually, and that you love him in the story, and you want him to win, but then you're like, but he's kind of a dick. Oh man! But when the next book comes, you got to know what happened, So I kind of base that as, we all have friends like that, where they're really good at telling stories and they're really good at like spinning a yarn. But then at the end, you're like, but he's kind of a jerk. So Zero's that guy,
That's really cool. It sounds very immersive. Let me just say hi to Dave. All right, me babbers. You're just catching us at the tail end of the
Dave, Bristolian Dave. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, Dave's great. Hope your back's doing better, Dave. Hope you're feeling okay. So we're about to wrap up this stream because we're almost an hour long.
Yep.
Is there any last words you want to add for Tales of Zero?
Yeah, I would just kind of summarize the big ideas that if you like things like Aliens from '86, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's a fun sci-fi adventure romp through an environment with characters you care about, danger, laughs, excitement, shock, twist, surprise, that's what we're doing here. It's adventure stories, and they're really, really fun. And that's all Tales of Zero is about. It's just a yarn, a ripping yarn, you know. And I do have a couple other projects coming up in the pipeline, the Zero pipeline, but they're different universes. I've got about 4 titles in waiting in rotation. So even if you don't get on this one, when I do my Caveman book next, we'll have a perk on that you can get all the issues of Tales of Zero. So it's going to be cumulative. I would ask everybody listening right now, if you want to take a chance on me, an untested creator, I guarantee that I put the readers first. And that Tales of Zero is going to be a good read. You're definitely going to want to read it twice, probably more than that. And it's the kind of thing that if you let your buddy read it, your buddy will not want to put it down until it's done. But I'm a first-time creator, so I don't expect to break the bank. I'm appreciative to every backer who'll take a chance on me.
Hey, cool. Well said. So, guys, that's Tales of Zero. You got 20 days left, so get on it while you have the chance. All the links in the description. I've seen Neve posting them in the chat as well. So just check them out. Check out all the books today.
Yeah, and dig my YouTube channel as well, because I do drawing and interviews with creators, and I've been really lucky. I've had some incredible people with me, and it's super chill. Like, we just chill and talk about art and creativity. So there's no drama, and there's no like, it's, you know, some people would find it boring unless you're a nerd, in which case you find it, you know, riveting, because we're just talking about the stuff that inspires us. So last week I had Brian Shearer, and we did Gunship Thunder Punch. We talked about that. Week before that, we had Eric Weathers talking about Battlebrick Road with his writer Zeb. And then tomorrow I'm going to have Matt, who's doing Kyrie. So I'm really lucky. I have a small YouTube show, but I have the best guests. And cool. And just like the readers, you know, you treat your guests well, treat your readers well. You know, that's where it's at.
So you're on YouTube?
YouTube, Purple Smurf 13. And yeah, you can check out there. I have some... you know, a lot of my drawing show, and also I have the Ashcan story. If you're driving to work and you just put it on, it's a 17-minute radio show of the story To Steal the Scarlet Scepter. And I guess to summarize, also we should say that probably the next 3 backers will get that Ashcan for free.
Cool. There'll be links to your Twitter as well, so people can hit you up if they want to know more about the book.
Fantastic. And anybody in the UK who wants to cross promote with me, follow me, DM me. I'll be glad to have you on my show and talk about your ideas. I feel like this kind of collaboration that's worldwide is just, it's so cool.
Hey, cool. Hey, Dave's suffering, so get better soon, Dave. We'll get you back on the bargain bin. So awesome. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. We're about to wrap up, but before we do so, I'll just go through all the lovely books one more time. We've, of course, got Tales of Zero. Back in the day, we've got The Adventures of Taylor in Outer Space. I can't stress how much I want you to sign up to this campaign. Let's get 3 more sign-ups before the end of the week. And
I'll do it. I'll do it right now. You're going to have 1 more right now.
Ah, thank you, dude. All of you lovely people who sign up are going to receive this beautiful trading card and poster by Mary Boy's creator, Chubb. Get on it, because this is the only time you're going to be able to receive this perk. It won't be anywhere else on the campaign. So make sure we're signing up, guys. I can't wait for the summertime when this book releases. We've also got another book, the Bargain Bin book, Twisted Fairy Tales. This is another summer release. So you're going to have a really good, like, August, September of awesome books being released. Sign up. Free art print on this of beautiful Snow White and Red Riding Hood. You're going to love it. Check out the Instagram where you're going to see posts like this, like behind the scenes work in progress shots of the artwork. We're almost at 1K. Get on it. And then let me leave you on a lovely picture of CG Wales.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah. Oh yeah, we got 1 new member of CG Wales. Awesome.
Oh, I'm in. I love it. So proud of my Welsh heritage. And like I say, we used to run things. We used to be running this stuff.
You know what? We're coming back, and we're
taking it back. We're taking it back.
Neve's posting links to your YouTube, so everyone.
Thanks so much.
I think I subscribed earlier. Make sure you subscribe. So yeah, thanks for coming, dude. We'll call it a day. I just wave